Hi, everyone. Lovely to see you. I have quite a few people ask me what I mean by this. And it's not possible to say what is meant by this because I mean everything. I mean anything. And I mean nothing. So try to describe that. It's more than tricky. So I end up saying, well, I just mean whatever seems to be going on. And there isn't anything else. But I know that saying this sounds like I do know what I'm talking about, and I can't emphasize, I try and emphasize that I don't know what I'm talking about. And wonderfully, it doesn't matter. Whereas I always presumed those who speak about this must know what they're talking about in order to speak about it. Wonderfully, you don't need to know. You could say that's the liberation, the freedom from knowing, from the need to know. Because actually saying I know is just saying I know. Those who say they know doesn't mean that they know. It means that they think they know. If that's obvious, if you no longer doubt that anyone who says what they're certain of is just that they think they're certain of something, then there's immense freedom in that. It's quite wonderful that everyone's free to say what they think they know, but you don't need to believe them. There's no... Knowledge is seen for what it is. Knowledge is, I think I know. That's it. That's all. That is what it means. Not that there is knowledge, but thought says there is knowledge. And when knowing is really just naming, and understanding is the relationship between names. Wow. Knowledge is liberated to be what it is, which is a wonderful human illusion that that language equals knowledge. And then speaking is liberated. And you could say thinking is equally liberated from its really very constraining and constricting that is either true or false. So is the knowledge that I have, is it true? Well, when no knowledge is essentially true, no understanding is true, then there's no call to argue with anyone about anything. And I was very argumentative because I wanted to be right. Self feels that it needs to be right. and that there are some cells who have got it right and that they do know the truth. And that's all very well with relative knowledge, you know, of engineering or mechanics or biology or scientific knowledge, you might say. But in imaginary, ethics, morality, spirituality, what's really real, what's really true, it's very obvious that everyone's making it up. You can make up whatever you want. It doesn't make it true. So this is not about the truth. It's suggesting that if there is such a thing as absolute truth, it's way beyond human comprehension. And that's a beautiful thing. That's not something to, you know, to mourn. And it's very understandable that self really desires to know the truth. I did desire that. And it is that desire that seems to have died. And in that is an immeasurable peace that I never felt as myself, because I always believed that there was such a thing as reality, as truth. So you end up saying stuff like, there's only not knowing, or there's just unknowing. But there's no knowing of that. There's no knowing of this. And there's no not knowing of this. You won't know what you're left with. And you don't need to know what's left. I'm quite happy to say that there's nothing left apart from everything. So it's kind of, it's not a finding. The only finding is that there's nothing to be found. And I don't mind if people say they've found what they're looking for. I just think they think that they've found what they're looking for. That's all. And it's beautiful. I might even think lucky bastards, but they're not real. But they're not really. But if it brings them some peace and contentment, then great. Well, thanks for coming, everyone. If you'd like to say anything, Darren is here, but he's not actively co-hosting today. So just put your hand up, and then I'll ask you if you want to say something.
Hi, Tim.
Natalie.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Long time no see. I've been dying. I haven't been able to be on the meeting, and I've just been missing all you guys.
Nice to see you.
You too. That whole thing with that argumentative, I feel like I was so argumentative. I don't know what that was all about, but I feel like I thought I knew something, and I wanted to make sure everyone knew that I knew it.
Yeah.
And that I was right and they were wrong. And it's like, even though that felt a little bullshitty to me back then when that was happening, it was kind of like, I still wanted to prove my point. I just needed to, for some odd reason.
Yeah.
You know, and sure, opinions come up, you know, whatever, but I mean, they're just opinions. It's just, you know, maybe it's from my upbringing. Maybe it's from some, who knows? Who even cares? All day long, sure. But like you said, there's no authority on this. If there is, I mean,
there are plenty of people who have made themselves authorities on this, but
we wouldn't know about that. You know.
No, there are no authorities. No.
Yeah, it's okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, that was nice.
Well, there in an absolute way, there's no authority.
No.
No.
Yeah. And it feels like even in absolute sense, that upkeep of appearances, you know, to try to withhold or uphold some sort of way of being across the board, that I could be this true self with every single person and I would always shine true. And I mean, I don't know where that idea comes from. You know, everything's so situational, you know, nothing is dependent, you know, we're not independently moving throughout this. I mean, everything that's arising and appearing is here, you know, so yeah, that whole feeling of, ooh, I got to do this right and I got to get it right. Yeah, maybe it comes up as a thought, but there's no validity to that. It feels like no solidity to those kind of thoughts that I could actually attain something that is a thought, you know, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome. Nothing happened, but it's awesome. I don't know. It's that kind of peace. It's the peace that's just okay. I mean, what are you gonna do? If it's appearing, if it's happening, I mean, be mad about it, fine. But yeah.
Yeah.
Nice, Tim.
Nice.
Great seeing you.
And you, Natalie. Great to see you.
Take care.
Razia.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Razia.
I think what is so awesome is that people are talking about this. You know, at one stage I thought, I mean, why would anyone want this? Like, you know? And then you'll see like people who are very sick, they will turn to God and turn to some sort of spirituality. And or some problem in their lives brings them to this, or something or the other, you know, like draws them, and you wonder what it is. And I could never understand like why we are in this and what's the purpose or whatever. Makes no sense. But the fun part of it is that you encounter so many amazing human beings. And if there is anything that happens between you and another human being, I don't know, it's just what's happening. You cannot say that it's not right or it's not wrong. I mean, it is what is happening. You are in a situation, you are choiceless, that is what's taking place. Now, how do we judge that, you know, and say it's right or wrong? Because it's what's appearing to happen. And yeah, so, but what's so awesome is that people are so unique, so different, and no matter what they say, and whether it's even like something that you don't agree with, it doesn't mean that you stop loving them, you know, or caring about them. And I like that the young people nowadays are getting into this. Like I'm like 60 something now, and I don't have that much years left. And it's awesome to see young people are interested in what this is all about. And yeah, I just feel so proud that to see other people talking about this. And yeah, so there's no judgment here of anything that happens. And there's always this like joy of interacting with others to see how far you can push them sometimes. And how far they can push you.
Are you getting
And
pleasure
so-
out of pushing them as far as you can?
yeah. Because I don't know. I just go with what the flow is at that moment. And if I offend anyone, then I am sorry. I don't know. I don't really mean to do that. If it happens, it's not intentional.
You're right.
Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Roger.
Hi, Tim.
Hi, who's that?
Anita.
Hi, Anita.
Hi there. Yeah, I'm a little bit doubting. Should I share it or not?
Yeah, either way is fine.
Mm. Thank you.
Michael.
I was just thinking, what can we know about another person when they don't actually exist? What can be known about anything, really? But in particular about another persona, who is essentially a group of memories accumulated over a lifetime. And we relate to them on the level of where our memories and their memories overlap. For us, it's reflections within reflections, with nothing substantial there at all. The line of thought that you said about knowing your father, and you didn't know him at all, has started a deep inquiry here into what do I know about my wife? We've been married 60 years. We met in high school.
Yeah.
And I love her so very much, and my grandchildren and my family. But I don't know anything about them.
No.
A few snippets, a few overlapping memories, what I've been willing to share with them about my life. And I find that incredibly beautiful. I think it can be devastating when it first dawns that we can never know another human being. We can never know ourselves.
Yeah.
It's kind of a free fall into a vast unknown unknowableness. And I personally, again, find that exhilarating. I find it fascinating that we're here at all, that anything exists at all. I look out at life, and the trees and the little birds flitting around in just awe that they're there and I'm here, apparently. I'm looking at a group of beautiful faces, some of which I've grown to love and some of which I wish I could know more. Universes of memories. I'm looking at Jim Gibson's beard and how beautiful it is.
Don't tell him that, Michael.
Don't tell him.
No. Look at him in his beautiful beard.
Well, he is beautiful. Every human face is a story of this incredible journey of heroism and defeat and tears and blood. And I was an alcoholic for years, and I write a story of waking up with vomit in my hair. This humanness that we share, the grittiness of being human, I don't know, it's a story of magnificence. Every story is wonderful. We start to see humans in that light, and then somehow we start to see ourselves in that light as this wonderful and knowable creature that's aware of itself through language. Only through imaginary separation that we struggle so hard against do we exist at all. I love listening to you, Tim, and your stories and your pictures of your boys and the trophy that Augie got in his first soccer game and the beaming look in his eyes. It's so beautiful.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, beautiful boy. Yeah, I missed the game, so I'm going on Saturday.
Wow.
I'm taking him to his second game. He's just full of it.
Oh,
He's not been able to sleep, I don't think, all week.
no,
Just the exhilaration of it. It's so brilliant.
brilliant. That's the word.
Yeah.
Mm.
Kelly,
Hi.
hi.
I was trying to do that before, but I guess I did a wave sign instead to raise my hand. I was thinking, I don't even know my dog.
Oh,
And
no.
people ask me about my dog, and I don't know the answer.
No.
And the reason I raise my hand is I'm not sure what experiences it are,
No.
and or just what's happening.
No, you don't know what's happening. That's just what's happening. You don't know what's happening.
So are experiences knowing something?
Yeah. An experience is saying you know something. It's not something, but
Okay.
I mean, really, we are talking about there really isn't any experience, no.
Yeah, because it would have to be important and meaningful and a lot of things.
Yeah, because if you think about what an experience is, it's a memory, and what a memory is a tiny. I mean, it's not a reflection of what happened, really.
Right.
It's tiny little snippets, a few choice words, a couple of images, maybe a sensation, and then it's woven together in this imaginary fabric of a memory. I mean, it's all we have.
And
So,
there must-
I mean,
and-
in our defense, there is fuck all else. So, you know, give yourself a break and give us all a break that, you know, you don't have a choice in that. There wouldn't be anything if you didn't do that. I mean, the fabric of life is just imaginary weaving of random, what seem to be memories. It's not a reflection of what happened. Well, it is a reflection. Michael says it's all reflection. It is a reflection, but I mean, it's not like a mirror image. It's not accurate in any way at all. You know how shit memory is, all of you.
Well, yeah, and I think you have to think it's important too, because I have experience, don't you know? Like that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just knowing.
It's the illusion of knowing you.
Okay.
I mean, there isn't anything else, though. Again, I'm not dissing that. It's not like a total disrespect of that, because if you took that away, then you wouldn't be able to say anything. You wouldn't be able to think anything.
Doesn't matter, does it?
And it wouldn't matter, but we wouldn't be very good at doing Zoom meetings together.
If we didn't have an experience.
It wouldn't matter, no. But, you know,
Think the experience.
there is fun to be had in communication, isn't there? You know, it's great. We don't have anything else. Otherwise, there would just be this complete aloneness. And what we have is the illusion that there isn't. We don't have anything else. I mean, I say illusion because I mean the aloneness is complete, and but what language, what talking to each other and writing and speaking allows us to do is to share from the aloneness. But there is only the aloneness. There's nothing. We're not actually sharing anything. There we go. That's the truth. There's nothing actually shared. I mean, and that might sound totally dreadful, and yet that makes it all the more beautiful for the impossibility. You can't not. I mean, I have no idea how these words are being heard by Kelly. How I haven't got the first clue, and there's no way I could. There's no way of knowing. So what we do is we collude together in the illusion that you do hear what I say. Well, you don't. No, you don't, and you can't. And then of course, that's massively liberating. You can say whatever you want. I've no idea how it will land anyway. It doesn't actually land. There you go. It's worse than that. There's no actually landing, let alone how it will land. And then, I don't know, life's so free.
What's the difference between nothing and empty?
Kelly, whatever you say is the difference.
I want to hear your difference.
No, that'll be the difference. I mean, but you're asking me, so I'll try not. So when I say those, they're just synonymous to me. They don't mean anything, either of them. Like every other word doesn't mean anything other than to the one who presumes that it has the meaning that they're trying to communicate. But when I say nothing and emptiness, I just mean not knowing, really. But of course, it sounds like I know. So again, you know, you're fucked always, really.
Yeah.
Because I use emptiness as a word to describe not that which can't be known, and which isn't something, which isn't a thing. But of course, then all the things are that. So it's not really, all the things are the emptiness. So if I'm being brutally honest, I don't know what I mean by it. I know what I attempt to mean by it. That's all we ever have, really. Our futile attempts to suggest we know what we're talking about. But it is lovely to, I mean, it's like a complete innocence of everything. All language is so innocent. You know, we're all just, when you hear adults as toddlers, just with very developed language. So if you see every human being as a 2-year-old who's just stumbling over their first words, then of course you can't help but love pretty much everybody. There'll be a few obnoxious shits that you don't really like, but the majority you'll just think are just incredibly sweet.
Yeah.
Even the really unpleasant ones, you can sort of still see it.
Or it can be imagined.
Yeah, it could be. Now the trouble, when I'm saying emptiness or nothing, they're just words that are trying to suggest what can't be known. I don't mean emptiness when I say emptiness, and I don't mean nothing when I say nothing. Because they're both things, aren't they? Because nothing is the opposite of something. and emptiness is the opposite of fullness. And what I'm trying to do is say that those opposites just don't exist. They're just linguistic efforts to understand what can't be understood and doesn't need to be understood. Because no one can understand. There is no understanding that everything is nothing. There's no understanding of that. And there's no understanding of emptiness is full. There's no, that can't be understood.
No, isn't that nice?
Yes, lovely. It's only lovely when it's lovely, though. When it's not lovely, it's incredibly frustrating.
Oh, yeah.
Or just downright stupid. I mean, most people who hear what I say just say, well, it's fucking rubbish, isn't it? It's just talking garbage. And that I understand why, because it's not rational. But when logic and rationality are seen for what they are, which is self's attempt to make sense of life, that's all. And I mean, don't get me wrong, they're very noble, and I mean, there's something beautiful in rationality, but they're not actual explanations. They don't actually make sense. They're just but they are. I mean, how wonderful that the human beings have this propensity to try and make sense of the world, of life.
Yeah, like it's the only thing that makes humans different than animals.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a curse.
Yes.
I mean, it's wonderful, but it is a curse as well. You know, dogs do have it better than human beings. They definitely do. I don't doubt that for a minute. Eating, shitting, sleeping. That's it. Oh, sniffing. A lot of sniffing.
Playing.
Oh, and yeah, a bit of playing. Not much, though. Mostly eating and sleeping. Oh, so simple. And we're just dogs with big brains, aren't we?
Yes.
I'm guessing the great news, really, Kelly, the amazing news is that life doesn't need to make sense.
Yeah.
And any sense that you've made of life is nonsense. It's absolutely not true. It's relatively true. And that's all the truth can ever be, is relatively true. And that's very freeing. There's great, just a really simple piece in that. That knowledge and understanding is just relative. And it's lovely not to envy others their knowledge and understanding, which I always did.
Yeah.
I was always looking at others who knew more than me, who understood more than me, with great envy. So it's nice not to have that.
Thanks, Jim.
Oh, thanks, Kelly. Razia.
I wanted to, Kelly was talking about memories. And like I was just thinking, like, you know, like the past and the present, I mean the future. Like we always say, be in the present, be in this moment. And I mean, that's like, I mean, how do you be in this moment, you know, when your thoughts, when you are busy in your head and someone says be in this moment, it's a hard thing to do, you know? And I don't know, but so when people tell me to be in this moment, I mean, I bring my attention to the present moment, look around me, try to notice stuff again, but then you're back in your thoughts again. So I think it's like a thing that just, it happens effortlessly, you know?
Yeah.
Suddenly you're brought into the present moment and then everything is
Well,
clear.
there is,
You know?
I mean,
Yeah.
there really isn't a present moment any more than there is a past or a future.
Yes, because both the past and the future is occurring in this moment. And
Yeah,
then I was also
well, you can,
thinking like,
there isn't even a present moment.
yeah, that it's just like a nanosecond, you know? It's just here and then it's finished, it's over. And then like what Kelly was talking about, memories, we don't, we can't even say that those are our memories, you know?
No.
Yeah,
No, because memories just appear or not.
yes. And lots of people will talk about individual memory, but we have to remember that we're also part of an evolutionary memory, you know, that comes back from the time there was this big bang. I don't know if there was a big bang, but apparently there was.
Well, I don't know about that.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a kind of like evolutionary memory in the sense that how man has evolved, you know, over the ages.
Well, that's just another story.
Yes, it's a story, but I mean, it's part of this memory that we talk about, and it's who we are.
Necessarily.
I mean, it's who we are. Like it.
Well,
makes
unless you've been told the story, you would have no idea about any of that.
Yes, I wouldn't, but I mean, I have.
Yeah, you have, yeah.
Yeah.
And I have.
Yeah, but I mean, like if you look at memory, lots of memory like has been inserted into us by our friends and significant people in our lives. Sometimes I think about it and I say, I don't remember that, you know? And like once my sister told me I was at her wedding, you know? And I was 2 years old and she was like 26. And she said she was carrying me at her wedding. And I believed her. So I pictured this being at a wedding and being carried and stuff like that. But later on, I realized, God, I don't remember being at that wedding, you know?
No.
So some of our memories are just not true. I don't know whether we make some of them up. And I can remember things that I did when I was like 2.5.
Well, no memory is true in that it is a reflection of, it is true that that's how the past was. Of course not, no.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. So memories probably made up. I don't know if they even happened. But it does define who we become. And some of us have these memories that, like a trauma memories, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they, I suppose, like I remember once when I was like in my 40s and I went through this period of depression. It was like a short period, like a month or something. So I don't know if you'll even call it a depression. But I remember during that time, I used to have these thought loops. You could never get out of it. It was like a thought would go on and on and on, the same thought over and over, like a broken record, you know? And then I said, I can beat this. So I started praying and listening to music and reading and stuff like that. Somehow that helped, like, you know, to get out of that thought loop. But yeah, so I don't know if that helps at all.
Thanks, Razia.
Thanks.
Ileana, would you like to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, when you were talking about aloneness, were you talking about aloneness? Because
Maybe.
And it didn't make any sense to me because who's alone? Like, do you mean emptiness, the same as you? And then you said the words are all innocent, so it didn't really matter quite as much. I smiled when you said that.
I don't say that. Say it again. I'm not sure what I said.
I thought you were talking about realizing that there's no one else, but it was like there's still someone to realize there's no one else as
No.
aloneness. Yeah.
No.
And it was kind of like the great, you know, it was like God or.
You thought I was mentioning God? Well, I don't.
Aloneness, like in the spiritual path, people think there's God, and then they think they're one with God, and so they're the only one. This grand me, rather than yeah. So yeah, I was surprised when that word. I can't even remember what you said, really.
Well, I certainly didn't mean that. If it came across that way, then that's not what I meant at all.
Yeah.
By aloneness, when I talk about aloneness, I'm talking about the absence of me, or the seeming absence of me means that there is no other. Because of course, others only exist if I exist. Because there are only other me's if there's me. So you exist because I exist. I am separate existence. Therefore, you are separate existence. And then I can become one with you. Because you're a separate existence. And then we could become one. When that's not possible, there is only, you can't say what it is, but it is definitely alone.
Aloneness still seems to me to be alone.
No.
Yeah.
That's not why I can understand why you might infer that, because from the perspective of self, because self can only imagine there could only be me alone. Because and that's loneliness. When self feels there is only me and I am alone, then that's a description of loneliness, which is excruciating for self. Now, this is an aloneness where loneliness isn't really possible. There's still longing. This is paradoxical, but there's longing, but not loneliness. It's an impossibility of loneliness. There's no one to be alone. But there is an aloneness that is undeniable and palpable and really indescribable, because the aloneness is that there isn't anything else. There isn't even the aloneness alone. It's fucking ridiculous, I know. That's why it's impossible to talk about. So the alone can only be heard by self as one big thing, one great thing. So God or consciousness or awareness. That's why all of those descriptions of the aloneness are very popular, because they still objectify this aloneness. Now, you can still say that I objectify it because I use the word this aloneness. But you've got, in language, you have to use a fucking objective noun. You have to use that, otherwise you can't even speak. But there isn't a this alone. Just alone. I mean, it's bullshit, but it's the best I've got.
Thanks, Tim.
But yeah, I understand that the aloneness can only really sound in normal language like one great oneness. I tend to avoid saying oneness for that reason, because it isn't one alone, it's not two. I still like the phrase not two, because it isn't one, it's not two. I mean, aloneness sounds like one, I know. It can't not do. But the aloneness is just an attempt to describe the impossibility of other. And the aloneness is complete. And so there isn't any, it's the end of looking for anything else. Because if this is alone, then that's the end. And the beginning. And the beginning is the ending, and the end is the beginning. And you start to sound a bit biblical at this point. It's beyond simple. I've just seen that Jen was in the waiting room. I do apologize. Kept you in the waiting room. You've probably been better off in that.
I have a question, Tim.
Oh, cheers, Darren.
All right. So what would you say about cause and effect to somebody who felt like they were responsible for their own illness?
Bloody hell. What would I say? I really don't know what I would say. It would depend on who was asking me, I think, and what I wouldn't be telling them. If they've never heard of non-duality, I wouldn't be talking like I'd talk in a meeting. Depends whether someone brought it up in a non-duality meeting or whether I was meeting them in the pub.
What about then if you just kept it to cause and effect?
I mean,
is there an actual cause?
No, there's definitely no cause, but there is an appearance of a cause, and in order to try and make sense of it, you have to have a cause. Otherwise, nothing makes sense. So, but if you ask 3 different people the cause of whatever seems to be happening, you're likely to get 3 different answers, aren't you? I mean, there's your answer to cause and effect. And what we say, there is some general agreement. Most of it is scientific these days, but you'd only have to go back a few generations and it would all be superstition, and it would all be spiritual, or it'd all be magical. In a way, I mean, science isn't, but it's still magical, because cause and effect is all magical thinking, really. Because cause and effect is saying, I understand why this is as it is, which is, no matter what method you've used to come to your conclusion that you know the cause of how this is, of why this is as it is, whether it's illness or, you know, whatever situation seems to be happening. In a way, it's all magical thinking. The whole lot is magical thinking, all of it. So but of course scientists won't agree, because rationalists will say, no, this is rational thinking, which isn't magical. But in a way, rationality is just another magic that humans have conjured. That makes, you know, that makes sense, and we can, because most of us have had a scientific education, will generally agree. So it is good that it, in a way, it seems good because it gives some consensus of agreement. But then you talk to religious folk and they're going to probably dispute it.
Yeah.
And they're going to say it's all God.
It's all God, yeah.
It's God's the cause of everything, yeah. But I mean, self does need a cause. Otherwise, this is terrifying, because I don't know how the fuck this came to be as it is, and therefore I don't know what and how am I going to go about ensuring that disaster doesn't befall me in the next minute or so, or tomorrow or next week, if I don't know cause and effect. So it's really completely understandable, but absolutely there is no cause. You could say, there's only effect. Then of course there is no effect if there's no cause, because they depend on each other, and nothing depends on anything else. This is uncaused. No matter what you say the cause is. Of course, this is where it gets a bit tricky, because of course any suggestion of cause is uncaused as well. So you don't get to choose what cause you've picked as the cause. That's uncaused.
Thanks, Tim.
So you end up with everything being completely innocent.
Yeah. Yeah.
As it is.
Mm.
I mean, it gives the illusion of control. That's why we love cause and effect, and we seem to depend on it, but we don't.
Mm. Thanks, Tim.
For what it's worth. Thanks.
Right.
Oh, thanks, Aaron. And thanks everyone. Thanks for coming.
Oh, Michael's got his hand up, by the way.
Oh, Michael can say the last word then. Go on then, Michael.
We know the cause of the First World War is that Archduke somebody was shot.
We all learned that. Yeah, I learned. I was there. It's his
the only cause. The singular.
Yeah, the attempted assassination. Yeah. Yeah, I learned
caused it. Oh.
And then of course the whole First World War and the consequences, of course, that the First World War caused the Second World War. So you know the cause of everything then, which is just that Archduke Ferdinand. It's all his fault. Well, we have to have, self has to have someone or something to blame. Without blame, I haven't got any idea how this is happening. So I have to blame. So don't blame yourself for blaming. You have no choice. If you don't blame somebody, if it's nothing's fault, you can't blame nothing. There's no satisfaction in that. There's no comfort. You have to have an actual cause. Otherwise, this is completely unknowable, which of course it is. Regardless of however much knowing you say you have, or anyone else has. And the amazing news is that not knowing is nowhere near as bad as I always thought it was. I was taught, like you, that not knowing is deficient. It's a deficiency. It's, you know, you will never get by. Knowledge is the key to success, to happiness, to anything else, as though knowledge is the cause of life being good. Well, you might have found that doesn't actually work. That's not worked out too well. And it's, when I speak of not knowing, it's not the absence of knowledge at all. It's just that the knowledge and the understanding is empty. Nothing is lost. Right. Well, lovely to see you all, and thanks for coming. I won't have a meeting next week because I'm on holiday. So hopefully I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thanks, Tim.
Pardon?
It's birthday. It's your birthday.
It's my birthday?
Yeah.
What? Today?
No, next week. That's why you're on holiday.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, that's my brother. My brother's telling me it's my birthday.
He's telling us too.
The 26th, right?
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
It's my
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Is it? No, my birthday's on Sunday.
Yes.
Yeah, we are celebrating together our birthday, Tim.
Yes, we are.
Oh, I need to. That's good.
Nice.
So, birthday holiday. I mean, I could do a meeting, but I probably won't. So I'm going to say I'm not going to. And then if I change my mind, then I'll advertise it.
Tim, are you sending out emails anymore?
Am I what?
Sending out emails about your meetings?
Did I not send you an email, Nancy?
No. I'm feeling so bereft.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I don't get them either.
Who doesn't? Ileana, you don't either. Right.
We're so bereft.
Well, it's sorry. I don't know how that works or
You
how.
can't get rid of us that easy, Tim.
Yeah, we're still gonna find out about your meetings.
You'd think you'd think it would be easy. Sorry. Can you email me just to say put me on the list again so I don't forget? I don't know. Maybe it just falls off the list without me knowing. I don't know. Email's funny business to me.
I have that problem with things in my head. You know, they fall out.
I
can't remember anything because they just fall out.
Always falling out. Yeah. I know that feeling. All right. Yeah, if you would like to be on, if you're not receiving emails and you would like to, please email me at clisstim@gmail.com and I will make sure that you're on the list. That's for anyone. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Tim.
It's great to
Take care.
Hi, everyone. Great to see everyone.
Kelly.
Hi, Kate.
Now I'm
Thanks,
just gonna
Pam.
say hi to everyone.
Hi, Kate.
Hi guys.
Hi, Kate. I got
Nancy.
your message. I got your
Hi,
message just
Natalie.
now.